episode of the Bill Squire Show there. Latest Poundcake podcast is up there for you as well. Hot and Sticky.
Hot and Sticky
is the new episode of the Bill Squire Show. Episode 114.
Yeah, been doing it for over 2 years now.
Exciting. And so that's there. It's also in the iHeartRadio app. And Poundcake's thing is there as well. Guardians tonight, 7:10. They are back at home. They start up first of 3 against the Boston Red Sox. Who plays for Boston now?
Oh, the guy.
Big Papi?
No, he's retired.
Nomar Garcia-Parra?
No, he plays for him. Nomar.
Nomar. I don't know who's on the Red Sox these days, but anyway, you'll find out tonight because the Guardians will play them. And Guardians are in a good spot right now. And keep in mind, you can, I think those World Series of Rock t-shirts dropped today, those Retro Buzzard t-shirts. The WMMS 101 FM, going way back, World Series of Rock. I'm pretty sure those dropped today. Online only, limited edition if you go to cleclothingco.com. But just make sure that you use Bill as the promo code.
That's right.
Because you can get 20% off the rest of this month. And then I'll have a new code for you when July hits. But I don't know that those World Series, I think they're online only. So if you want to get one of those, but you can use the promo code in store as well. I heard a commercial. This is why enunciation is so important in our business.
Oh, those are slick.
Yeah, they look great, don't they? The reason that enunciation is so important or so valuable in our business is because it's very easy to mishear things. And I heard a commercial with I don't even know what the store was, but they were talking about all the things that you could get at their store. And they said, we've got things for your car, and we've got, X, Y, and Z. And they said, and homosexuals. And I kind of perked my ears up, and I was like, oh, maybe it's a Pride Month thing. But it didn't make any sense. I misheard home essentials.
Oh.
I said, oh, what? Stuff for the yard and homosexuals. And the person said home essentials. So maybe it wasn't necessarily an enunciation thing. Maybe it was just, but I was listening to it. I wasn't distracted. I was in the car and listening to this commercial, but I misheard home essentials as homosexuals.
Can you play it for us?
I don't have it,
okay.
no.
Well, we are essential to every home.
Are you? Is that what it is?
I think we
essential
should be.
to every. Well, I mean, you're essential to your home because you live there.
But I think if every home had a homosexual, it would be a better place in the world.
You think so?
I think if every home had a homosexual, I think it
Wow. How would that improve people's living situations? Because I have a feeling there are a lot of people who, on principle, might disagree with you.
a lot more organized. Their property value would go up.
But you're not an organized person.
I would be if I was in a home that I...
But you are gay and you're disorganized.
I'm not disorganized. I'm just like not organized.
You're just so lazy.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not-
lazy is a form of disorganization.
But I'm not disorganized though. I'm not.
Haven't you described your room as like being a mess?
It's when I didn't do laundry, but I did laundry. My room's not a mess.
Okay, I thought you described your room as being a mess. Like you had, when Erica and Bill years ago redid your room, like there was razor blades with pubes in
that
it.
It
wasn't a
wasn't
mess.
like a mess. It was just...
They burst into my room.
What
that
I'm
I had
saying,
hair in my
what I'm saying
It's
is
not gross.
What I'm saying is that's the exact opposite of the organized stereotype that you're saying would benefit people to have a homosexual in the house.
I think it would benefit most people to have a homosexual.
I've had a lot of gay friends over my life. They haven't all. I'm one of the most organized people that anybody knows. Mm-hmm. But I'll go with you. Okay, so if everybody had a gay in every pot,
They'd have a different outlook on life.
Yeah.
They'd be a lot nicer.
but you don't
I
need
feel
them
like.
in your home to do that.
They'd be a lot more tolerant because they were like, whatever I do. Like,
I don't know. It might make people way less tolerant.
Let's ease off the throttle here. There's also a lot of, homosexuals are still people. Mm-hmm. Just because you're gay doesn't make you more tolerant. Right?
True. I'm actually kind of the opposite. I'm actually like not tolerant. I don't like gays. I don't like anybody. Really.
He's a self-loathing black gay man.
Like it's just like okay for me, but not okay for we. Like I want to do things and not. And
I'm black and I'm gay.
Right.
I want to throw out the gay card and the
That's
black card.
why you're a Republican.
At my convenience.
Rules for thee, not for me.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
It's a lot simpler that way. I want the right to be wrong. I want my cognitive dissonance.
But wouldn't it be simpler though to treat everybody the same way? It seems more difficult to make those divisions.
I bully the most who whine the most.
Say again?
I bully the people who whine the most.
You bully the people who whine the most.
Yep.
Why does that require bullying?
Because they get
Why
on
not
my
just
nerves.
ignore them?
No, because they get on my nerves and they make my life difficult because I get lumped in. They're like, well, you snowflake queens always complaining about something and someone's pronouns. I'm like, all right, listen.
Yeah, but learning someone's pronouns doesn't make your life any more difficult.
It doesn't, but
it might make another person's life easier.
It makes people's lives difficult when they simply make a mistake and they're like, they get yelled at for it. Like,
well, then they shouldn't be yelled at for
like
it.
They're the worst person ever. Like, I can't believe you called her a she. You're so intolerant. I'm like, okay, but
I don't think that happens all that often.
I don't think so either. I think that's an extreme example.
Shut up, Bill. I'm making an example.
Yeah, I know.
Out of whole cloth, you are making up an example. Has anybody seen Snowflake Mountain, by the way?
No.
No, what's that?
Okay, so there's this stupid show on Netflix, and if you watch it, you're like, okay, these aren't real people. This is being cast. They went through central casting or something because there's such stereotypes. So they have this show called Snowflake Mountain, and it's got these two guys that were in the Marines, and they're going to show these millennials how life is, whatever. And so they have these, like, 20-something kids. I mean, none of them are in great shape. Right? So these aren't, what do I always say? Exercise will really improve your brain. But, so they've got like rich kids who don't want to do anything. And it's just like this super deep stereotype casting. That's why I can't believe any of these people are real people. And then these two guys bring them into the wilderness and you're supposed to watch and go, look at these kids. They don't want to do anything. But how many people, if you took them into the wilderness, would know how to do anything? So I guess they brought these people there.
This could have been about me when I was forced to do Boy Scouts as a kid. Because, like, I never had any interest in that. The only reason I went through the program is because my parents made a rule. You have to get your Eagle Scout if you want to get your driver's license. So I begrudgingly went through the process, but I hated every minute of it. So I was never enthusiastic about it. I was always doing the bare minimum because it was not anything that I found interesting. I just wanted to drive.
Yeah. So I had these people who were like, I guess they were brought there in false pretenses or something, but like they live with their parents and they can't hold down a job and they don't want to do anything. And of course they're all influencers. I don't know who they're influencing, but that's what you call yourself, I guess, if you don't do anything else. And then they find out they're on a show and there's money. So I'm like, so is the point to take rich kids and give them more money? Like, I understand what they're trying to do with the show, which is just get people all riled up. But when you watch the cast of this show, you're like, these can't be real people. Like, they had to have cast for this show.
Yeah, they knew
they're
they were going to get
actors
people
or something
that are going to play it up.
Yes. And even if they are real people, they're absolutely playing it up.
Yeah. Because otherwise you don't got a show. Then what's the show?
That's right. Yeah, it's called Snowflake Mountain. Oh, boy. Solomon, who is 26, I think he's the chubby British dude. He calls himself fun employed, which means he's got wealthy parents. He spends $500 a week on grooming, he says. Not so you'd really notice it. There's another kid who's a wannabe pro wrestler. Again, they're all basically rich kids.
Yeah.
And then they throw them in this mountain. But I'm like, well, then the point of the show then is to take kids who already have money and give them more money.
Right. Give them more money and fame.
Yeah.
Giving them everything that they want.
Because they tell them, they go, you're here to win $50,000. I'm like, well, what's the point of this show then?
And if this dude's spending $500 a week on grooming, $50,000 isn't anything to him. He doesn't care.
Right. So they're like, this isn't, I don't know how to do,
Hey.
And dramatic.
This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my whole life.
There's a heap of young adults who can't even unload a dishwasher, let alone hold down a job. And these 10 Snowflakes families have reached their breaking point. So they've tricked their giant babies into traveling far, far away to make them grow the hell up.
I mean, You see what they're doing here. I mean, they're really stacking the deck in their favor, but their parents have reached their breaking point.
Also,
it took them 24 years to figure out that, like, their kid, you've been paying for your kid until they're 25. You just reached your breaking point. It's just weird. I was clicking through and it was on, and there's so much crap now that they don't even like market these or announce them. No wonder Netflix is laying people off. They're like, let's just fire the whole marketing department because we're just throwing shows up there, and if people find it, they find it.
And all they have to do is manipulate their own algorithm and be like, oh, look, it's trending on Netflix. It's top 10 in TV shows on Netflix. And
right.
People are like, well, it's top 10. I might as well watch it. It's top 10. Right. You don't want to miss out on the next Tiger King.
Or they just say it's number one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The snowflakes go through various challenges, such as swimming out to the middle of a freezing lake. Like, you go from 0 to 60. Who would be able, like these two Marines that are taking them out there, it's like, when you guys were day one of basic training, you wouldn't have been able to do this either. You guys are trained veterans. That's why. So, obviously, you know what they're trying to do here, but I just thought it was a weird. There's something very strange about, like, this take.
And also,
on it.
these people look incredibly annoying. Like, this doesn't look entertaining.
Right.
People constantly, complaining through an entire show is not my idea of entertainment. Like, I'm not going to watch this show.
I understand people hate watch, which I don't understand, but I know it's a thing.
I'll watch some trash TV, but it's, I can't, if I can't stand the people on the show, I can't stick with it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's there.
And there also has to be some sort of realism to it. And this one sounds very contrived.
No authenticity whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, that's what misses me with these reality shows.
Especially the competition ones, yeah. Like, 90 Day Fiancé, there's a level of real on those shows where these people actually made the connection and then contacted the show. But
that's why the circle's kind of fun.
The circle's fun
because they're all separated. They're kind of they kind of don't know who's who. It's not a trash talking thing.
Right, yeah, it's about building like relationships and friendships, but there's strategy to it.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
What's what was the one that I really liked?
Love Island?
Not Love Island, The Ultimatum. So there was Love is Blind, and then they took that in was it Love is Blind?
I don't know.
Whatever the the 98 Degrees guy.
Nick Lachey?
Nick Lachey, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Love is Blind, and then they did like another version that was The Ultimatum, where it's people that are in relationships and they're like...
Love is Blind was Nick and Vanessa.
Yeah. So this is their spin-off called The Ultimatum, where it's people that are in relationships and say, hey, either marry me or we're going to date other people. And that show was very fun.
I like that you put we're going to date other people. Hey, marry me or we're going to date
other people.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. The ultimatum, marry or move on.
Yeah.
So how long do you have to be dating?
These are people that have been dating for like 2 or 3 years.
Is that a long time?
Well,
like Gwen gives me a hard time because we had been dating about 5 years before I proposed. And I was like, what's the rush, by the way? She's like, I moved to Ohio with you.
Mm-hmm. And there's, like on this show, there's people that are dating for less than that, like 2 years, 3 years, and they're in their early 20s, and they're like, I'm just ready for the next phase of my life. And there's a lot of twists and turns in that one that I did not expect. So
all right.
that was an interesting one. I mean, it's straight trash TV, but it is at least engaging.
I think that Vanessa Manillo is pretty foxy, though.
Oh, she's very foxy.
Wasn't she married to somebody before him? I thought she was he was the. I know he was married to Jessica Simpson, but I thought she was married to somebody.
I think
before.
she was, because they talk a little bit about their relationships on the reunion shows of Love Is Blind and The Ultimatum.
They have the same birthday. Yeah. Anyway, I just remember her from when she was like on TRL back in the day.
Yeah, I remember her from that.
Right, Carson Daly and Vanessa Manillo.
Dude, that was
TRL was the thing. Like, you had to watch TRL
to be cool. That was when like MTV itself was like a movement. Like, it was such the pulse of pop culture, and then
that was like its last musical movement. Like, that was the end of music videos on MTV was TRL.
I always wanted to go to New York City just to wait outside the window of the Total Request Live booth, but like it's gone now. What do they have?
Studio, you mean?
Yeah,
The TRL booth.
but it's
TRL
gone now.
booth, yeah.
Where else do they like? What do they have there instead?
Times Square looks so different than it did back then.
Yeah, true.
I'm saying this. We're talking like. Oh
Probably
my
just
God,
another-
20 years
Probably
ago?
just like a third Bubba Gump shrimp.
Well, they kind of tried to a buddy of mine, he was actually my producer of my morning show when I was on in Chicago, Kevin Mano. He married one of the bachelorettes, and he got a gig with MTV to host this afternoon like news thing called The 7, and this was going to be like their big news show in that studio. It only lasted a couple of seasons. But he's like an affable guy. He's a good-looking dude. I mean, he was good on it. But they were trying to do like this live news entertainment thing for the MTV generation. This is like 10 years ago. And I think that the mood had passed already for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they were like, well, we've got this studio. We should do something with it.
Now all MTV is ridiculousess.
Yeah,
It is. It's just
all Rob
okay.
Dyrdek.
It's just
Yeah.
all like 24 hours.
How do you have a network like that? Like you made
HLN is all forensic files. You make it work.
But it's just ridiculous because ridiculousness. MTV used to be music videos, at least early in the morning. That's when I used to watch all the latest music videos when I would get ready for school.
Because it doesn't need to be that
It doesn't.
anymore.
Yeah, you just go on YouTube and watch it.
And then they straight up just made it was all reality TV. And it used to be good. I still went into my 20s with Jersey Shore. And then that one guy died from the Buck Wild show. And that was like the last reality show that I remember people watched. And then it was done. I don't know anybody
Well,
who
it
watches
really
MTV
is. I'm looking at the schedule. It really is all ridiculousness, isn't
Yeah.
it?
And
And then
they'll
once in
throw-
a while, they'll throw Teen Mom in there.
Teen Mom, and they'll throw on Floribama Shore, but that one never caught on.
Nope.
Like the
Jersey
way that
Shore
Jersey
was the
Shore
last.
did, yeah.
Jersey Shore
It
was
the
the
last
big
giant
one.
hit, yeah.
Wow.
And that's why they
And
paid
they're
them
still
so much
milking
to stay.
that too because they're doing the
family
family reunion
reunion
ones that everybody's like, nobody wants to watch this
No-
anymore.
no
And then
one-
Catfish reruns.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Catfish
you're
was
right.
great when
Catfish.
it came out. Like the first season of Catfish was kind of fun.
And that's and when you talk about realism, that's where I draw the line because there only should have been one season of Catfish. They got one good season out of it, and I'm like, oh wow, people. I know people that have gotten like duped online for sure. But then they made a season number 2, and I'm like, okay, maybe they filmed
Yeah,
it
but
around the same time.
But it was a movie first,
Yeah, it was a
right?
documentary first,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't see the documentary, so I could understand why they would want to make a season about it. But after 8 or so seasons,
yeah, it's
you like
very contrived.
There's no way you went 10 years messaging this dude, sending him money. He has a house.
You're in Warsaw, Indiana, and
Yeah.
you're dating
That's
a
the thing,
model.
is there are still people
There
getting
aren't.
catfished.
There aren't.
They're just not young people. There's old people getting catfished
Sure,
too.
but
Yeah,
that's fraud. That's not catfishing. They're not looking for a partner.
Good point.
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, that's right.
These people are like,
Fraudfish.
Tonight on Cat Fraud, this guy, remember last season? It's his mom
Yeah.
and a Nigerian prince. I liked Robin Big. I don't care about ridiculous.
I didn't like
I liked
Robin
Robin
Big.
Big.
Yeah.
I know, but that was a great show.
My mom watched that too. My mom still watches Ridiculousness. She likes Rob Dyrdek for whatever reason.
I like him. I just don't care for that show.
I don't like the show. I didn't like Scarred either.
Let me, no, thank you. Let me get you $1,000 closer to 5:30. It's going to be the last keyword that you're going to get for the week to go fuel yourself. And right after the break, last pair of tickets to see Hailstorm. If you like Hailstorm, you like the Pretty Reckless, they're on the road together. They'll play Blossom mid-July, so we'll do that.